Gender. Given the ubiquitous influence of gender in a person's life, a number of theories have been developed to explain gender development. These theories can be generally divided into three families: biological, socialization, and cognitive. According to biological theories, psychological and behavioral gender differences are due to the biological differences between males and females. Within this family of approaches, researchers have focused on historical explanations, such as genes and sex hormones. Socialization theories of gender development view gender differences as a byproduct of the differential treatment girls and boys receive from the people in their lives and the pervasive gender stereotype messages that children are exposed to in their environment. Cognitive theories of gender.
The present article addresses the psychosocial determinants and mechanism by which society socializes male and female infants into masculine and feminine adults. Gender development is a fundamental issue because some of the most aspects of people's lives, such as the talent they cultivate, the conception they hold of themselves and others, the social structural opportunities and constraints they encounter, and the social life and occupational paths they pursue are heavily prescribed by societal gender typing. It is the primary basis on which people get differentiated with pervasive effect on their daily lives. Gender differentiation takes one added importance because many of the attributes and roles selectively promoted in males and females tend to be differentially valued, with those ascribed to males generally being regarded as more desirable effect and of higher status. Burchid, 1993. Although some gender differences are biologically founded, most of the stereotypic attributes and roles linked to gender arise more from cultural design than biological endowment. Bandura, 1968, and Bial and Sternberg, 1993. Stein, 1997. This article provides any analysis of gender role development and function within the framework of social cognitive theory and disguises it from other theoretical formulation.
Feminism. What is feminism? Feminism, the belief in social, economic, and political equality of the sexes. Although largely originating in the West, feminism is manifested worldwide and is represented by various institutions committed to activity on radical feminism, and it is a theoretical and political viewpoint that emphasizes men's dominance over women. This oppression is regarded as the most basic form of human oppression that exists in all societies, regardless of class, race, or ethnicity, all of women's rights and interests. We have here types of feminism. Number 1, radical feminism is a theoretical and political viewpoint that emphasizes men's dominance over women. This oppression is regarded as the most basic form of human oppression that exists in all societies, regardless of class, race, or ethnicity. Number 2, liberal feminism. Mainstream feminism, also known as liberal feminism. It is a branch of feminism that focuses on achieving gender equality through political and legal reform within the context of liberal democracy. Number 3. Ecofeminism. It is a subset of feminism that considers environmentalism and the relationship between women and the environment to be fundamental to its analysis and practice. Ecofeminist thinkers use the concept of gender to examine human-natural relationships. Number 4. Marxism. Karl Marx is the founder of Marxism, a social, political, and economic philosophy. It looks at how capitalism affects labor, productivity, and economic development, and purposes a worker revolution to overthrow capitalism and replace it with communism.
What is gender discrimination? Gender discrimination is any unequal treatment, including privilege and priority, on the basis of gender. What is gender inequality? Gender inequality is discrimination on the basis of sex or gender causing one sex or gender to be routinely privileged or prioritized over another. Gender equality is a fundamental human right, and the right is violated by gender-based discrimination. Gender disparities start in childhood and are right now limiting the lifelong potential of children around the world, disproportionately affecting girls. At Save the Children, we put gender equality of heart of everything we do. Our vision is a world which all people, girls, boys, women, and men have equal rights, responsibilities, and opportunities regardless of gender norms, identities of expression, a world where everyone is equally recognized, respected, and valued.
Sexual and human rights. Reproductive rights gains for women in the Philippines allow Philippines passed today establish long-awaited protection for women's rights to reproductive health. Amnesty International said today the Responsible Parenthood, Reproductive Health and Population and Development Act, known as the RH Bill, strike down some long-standing barriers for women access to sexual and reproductive health care, including access to natural and modern contraception and reproductive health information for adults. This law is an important step toward protecting women's right to reproductive health, said Police Truscott, Deputy Asia Pacific Director. However, the law falls short in protecting the reproductive health rights of girls. The new Reproductive Health Act mandates non-secretarian and school to give age-appropriate sexuality education to students of reproductive age with parents' consent after amendments introduced in the Senate. The Act also requires under 18 seeking access to conception to obtain written parental consent.
Gender discrimination and performance in the workplace. Workplace gender discrimination comes in many different forms, but generally it means that an employee or job applicant is treated differently or less favorably because of their sex, gender, identity, or sexual orientation. Even though the words sex and gender have different meanings, laws against discrimination at work often use them interchangeable. Sometimes workers experience discrimination because of their gender and something else like their race or ethnicity. For example, A woman of color may experience discrimination in the workplace differently from a white female co-worker. She may be harassed, paid less, evaluated more harshly, or passed over for promotion because of the combination of her gender and her race. Some example of treatment that could be gender discrimination include not being hired or being given a lower paying position because of your gender, identity, or sexual orientation. For example, when an employee refuses to hire women or only hires women for certain job, being held to different or higher standard, or being evaluated more harshly because of your gender identity, or because you don't act or present yourself in a way that conforms to traditional ideas, femininity or masculinity. For example, if a worker who identify as a woman receive a negative performance evaluate that criticizes her for being too aggressive, while men who behave the same way are praised for showing leadership. Or if she wears her hair short and is told she needs to be more presentable, she may be experiencing discrimination based on gender stereotype, which is a form of gender discrimination. Being paid less than a person of different gender or sexual orientation who is similarly or less qualified than you, or who has similar or fewer job duties than you. So if you think you are being paid less than someone of a different gender identity, do the same job of substantially similar work. Not all gender discrimination is international or explicit. It could still count as discrimination if your employer does something that ends up including or harming workers of a particular gender identity without intending to. Oftentimes, a certain practice of policy, say a hiring test or requirement, does not say anything about gender and may not have been put in place for the purpose of keeping women, trans, or non-binary people of certain job